if we ignore performances, what we actually see on the pitch, forget that for just a minute, and it is difficult, but just bear with me, and focus entirely on results. So the loss to Olympiacos and the defeat to Aston Villa. That's easily fixable. Should we beat Everton, get a point away to Brentford and beat Olympiacos at the London Stadium? Sounds simple when I say it like that, doesn't it? But if we were to yield those points, suddenly everything looks grand again. We'd be in the top 6-7 of the Premier League, top and in charge of the Europa League group stage, 1 foot in the next round already. Things would look good. So results wise, it's not the end of the world losing the last 2 games. It's frustrating, it's opportunities missed, so certainly. But in terms of the bigger picture, it's not the end of the world. It can be redeemed pretty quickly. Of course, like I said, it does depend on beating Everton. However, David Moyes has to remember he's on trial this season. Not just with the board, but a lot of the fans as well. Now, this video, if you're firmly in the Moyes in camp or firmly in the Moyes out camp, this video is probably not going to apply to you. It's a very geo-opinion based video, I have to say that. So if you don't want that, now's the time to go. But before you do, please do subscribe to Hammer's Chat and drop a like on the video as well. And yes, I'm wearing a Christmas jumper. I'll tell you why in a second. You can guess why. It's a new design on the store. I'll tell you about it in a minute. But in regards to my point, in the summer, I did my best to push the reset buttons. Right, I would have liked him to have gone after the Conference League final. He didn't. I accepted it. New season, no longer got Declan Rice, but well, we were hopefully going to bring in some players when we played Bournemouth, hadn't brought anyone in. But I was doing my best to sort of give David Moyes a clean slate. Not just David Moyes, everybody. Thomas Souček, not the great season last season, but now Rice has gone. What can you do? So I was trying to give everybody a clean start with the new season. And up until now, I've managed it. I found it easier than I thought, actually, to not necessarily forget about last season, but just ignore it a little bit and focus only on this season. After we got beat by Aston Villa, I was able to sort of, while I was frustrated with the performance, I was found myself more annoyed at the inevitable inclusion of Mikel Antonio against Everton than the actual result. Villa are a good team. But last night, I found myself very, very quickly getting irritated by old David Moyes, if you like, going beyond the reset button. I struggled to remind myself last night, hang on a minute, you said fresh start. His old habits were irritating me, if you want. The continuation of deploying Danny Ings in a Mikel Antonio role was what was irritating me. And last night, and into this morning as well, I found myself really frustrated. It was almost like I got a massive, big, wet fish slapped across my face as a reminder of why I'm not David Moyes' biggest fan. Now, this is where I'm probably guilty of assuming people know my opinions on David Moyes, and I don't expect anyone to watch every single video. I mean, if you do, thank you very much. I hope you're dropping a like on the video, because you'll be helping us out a lot. But sometimes in the comments, people will get frustrated with me for being David Moyes' biggest fan, and sometimes people will get frustrated with me for being too critical of David Moyes. I can't really win, and in this video, I'm definitely not going to win with a lot of people. Again, some people will think I'm being too lenient, and some people think I'm being too harsh. At this point, I mean, I can never be David Moyes' biggest fan. I can never claim to be that because of what I've said in the past. When he returned, I didn't want him back, and I wanted him sacked last season. But likewise, I can never be David Moyes' biggest critic because I always felt he would win us the Conference League. I've never been anyone but David Moyes. I've never been that far. Especially when we got linked to the likes of Rafa Benitez. That gave me the fear. No, thank you. I'd stick with David Moyes. But I do think there's better options out there than him. And there probably always is, to be honest with you. But this season, he's gone into the final 12 months of his contract. Now, that's on the board. That's not on David Moyes. That's on the board. And he's on trial. It's sort of judgment season for him because he's not going to get sacked this season. I would be shocked, and I mean completely shocked, if David Moyes was not here on the final game of this season. For that to happen, for him to go before it, he either walks, which he's not going to do, or we've got to be bottom by Christmas, which is not near on impossible with Luton and Sheffield United in the league. We were in a relegation battle for 80% of the season last season, and they stuck with him. They probably looked at alternatives. Maybe if Tim Steidten was here last season when we were in the relegation battle, things might have been different. Who knows? But we ain't going to be in a relegation battle this season. There's some subscribers think we will be. We're going to get sucked into it. I don't believe it at all. While I'm frustrated with what I seen last night, or actually angry with what I seen last night, and disappointed with what I seen against Aston Villa, I still can't. I can't. Even if I tried, I could not convince myself that we'll finish in the bottom 5 or 6 in the Premier League this season. There's some really poor teams. I don't think we're one of them. I still think 8th to 13th is where we're going to finish, somewhere in that pack of the Premier League. I say as high as 8th. I think that's probably as good as it can get, and I think 13th is as bad as it can get. My opinion hasn't changed because we put out our second string side against Olympiacos and got beat. That's not going to persuade how I feel about what I expect from us this season based on 8 Premier League games thus far, 9 Premier League games thus far. From what I've seen, I'm still content with my prediction, if you like, 8th and 13th. Doesn't mean I'd be happy with it. Well, it depends how we play, kind of thing. But last night, I found myself really sort of annoyed with David Moyes for doing David Moyes things, and perhaps I've struggled to push the reset button a little bit more than I thought, actually. But anyway, before we continue to talk about David Moyes, it's Christmas jumper time. I know it's not even November. Wednesday's November, it's nearly November, right? But it's pre-sales only. So if you want to get yourself a Christmas jumper, you've got to get one now. If you pre-order it, you get £5 off. When we no longer do pre-sales, there'll be limited stock available. There won't be loads of numbers. So this is the Christmas design for this year. I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles in the formation of a Christmas tree. You get £5 off at the minute. So instead of £35, it's £30. The link's in description and pinned comments. You can head over there and pre-order it. We've got some of last year's designs on there as well. We've got 2 different garments, so it's a better quality garment. So if you bought it last year, the Christmas jumper, we've got a slightly better material this time round. I said, excuse me, can we have one of the high-end actual jerseys? And they said, yeah, use this one. This is a really good one. So we've trusted the manufacturer, we've gone with it, made the design ourselves. So there you go. If you want your Christmas jumper, get it ordered now. Order it before the 10th of November. You'll save yourself a £5. It'll be with you by the middle of December at the very latest. Hopefully sooner, but at the very latest you'll get it mid-December. So, Hammers Chat Christmas jumper now on sale. Back to David Moyes. Now the irritations remain the same. The Danny Ings thing, I know people will say, hey, you're a big fan of Ings, you're biased, but I still don't believe that a striker can score goals all his career, come to West Ham, go 20 games without a goal, and suddenly it's a striker that's turned crap. He had a couple of half chances last night, but when a striker's gone before last night, 19 games without a goal, that's what's going to happen. His confidence is going to be low. He's going to swing at things that he usually wouldn't. Perhaps he'd usually take a touch, finish it slightly different. But this is the irritation. Now, when after the Aston Villa game, and he said we were building, I wasn't as angry as some people. Some people, thought it was a ludicrous comment. I get where they're coming from. I say I get it. I sort of, maybe not in the context that David Moyes means it, but I have no issue. I think you should be constantly rebuilding is the phrase I'd use rather than building. Ferguson was doing it his entire career. Fergie was always rebuilding Man United. That's why he was as good as he was, because he kept on changing the way they play. He was ahead of modern day tactics, if you like. You look at Liverpool this season, this is my best example. Klopp is rebuilding that midfield at Liverpool. How long's Klopp been there for? How much money has he spent? He's rebuilding today. Now, if Moyes was to suggest that we're maybe rebuilding in some areas, of course we have to. We have to rebuild this season because we don't have Declan Rice. We were always going to be rebuilding. But then when he plays Ings in replace of Antonio, I think, well, hang on a minute, this cannot be the answer. If you want to suggest that you're building towards something, we need to see something to be encouraged by. It's not there. The players that came in last night, I think they should be performing better. However, it's a consequence. It is also a consequence of just not being played by the manager. What's happened to Pablo Fornals, I do not know. And he's never been the best player in the world, Fornals. I've always been a Pablo Fornals fan, though. I'll tell you what, though, he's never been this bad. This is as bad as he's ever been at West Ham. And it's tough to watch, actually. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy watching Fornals, or any other player in the team for that matter, struggle and just be anonymous. My big concern at the minute is what we're going to do without Edson Alvarez, because suspension is inevitable. He's going to miss a couple of Premier League games this season. He's one yellow card away from a 1-game suspension. Why not have him for the Brentford game? It's very possible he picks up a booking against Everton and he misses the Brentford game. he's more than likely to get another 5 yellow cards before the cut-off and therefore get a 2-game suspension later on in the season. We don't have an answer yet. We do not know what the solution is. We've seen us without Edson Alvarez, and I do not like it. Souček can't do it. Ward-Prowse shouldn't be doing it. That midfield without Alvarez just doesn't function, and I just do not like it whatsoever. But last night, I think he's prioritised the Everton game. I understand it. He's thought he's got a little bit of wiggle room in European football. I wouldn't disagree. Had we got a draw, I think that would have been an okay result. A draw and rested some of the players ahead of Everton. A draw would have been fine last night, but we didn't. He rested the players. They ended up having to play 40 minutes. Bowen, Paqueta and Antonio had to come on for 40 minutes anyway, so you're just as well starting them and taking them off at half-time should you be winning. But he's put pressure on himself because he's prioritised Everton. And like I said, I do get it. But I think what he has done is put so much pressure on himself to get a result on Sunday. We have to beat Everton now to justify the team selection last night. If we don't beat Everton at the weekend, it makes last night's team selection against Olympiacos look even more stupid. But if we do beat Everton, again, you don't have to agree with it, but Moyes might feel justified in his team selection against Olympiacos. He say, well, look, as a result, yes, we lost, but as a result, we've gone and got 3 points against Everton. And now at the minute, we're 2 points behind Newcastle in the league table, which is, we're doing all right. We're doing okay in the league. But I do feel like we're on a downward trajectory at the minute. It's not like we're in form and we're playing well. We're not playing that great at the minute. And while I was happy with the start of the season, I think we played better football than last season. I'm not changing my mind. I feel like we have. I also did suggest that Ariola being man of match in 2 of the games was a little bit of a worry and it was a little bit unsustainable. It feels like we're catching up a little bit. But we're going into the Everton game. I thought last night, well, hopefully we see 1 or 2 players give the manager a headache. We didn't. The manager's almost justified in starting Souček and or Antonio on Sunday because the players that played last night, they've not done anything to showcase what they can do. But again, it's that circle. Well, they played like that as a consequence of how they've been managed up until this point. And it just, like I said, I pushed the reset, but I'm aware and rambling. I apologise. It's a little bit ranty. But I feel like I'm back to like pre-reset button because we always seem to have a squad of about 13 players. 13 players that Moyes will use. We sell some, we buy some. Yeah, the number stays at 13. You know, last season, Ben Rama was in that 13. This season, he's probably the 13th man. But he's getting further and further away from the starting 11 as the weeks go by. Last season, at the start of last season, he was probably our best attacker up until World Cup. Pre-World Cup, he's probably our best attacking option. Now, he offers nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. Again, I've not always been Ben Rama's biggest fan. I never will be Ben Rama's biggest fan. But he's a better player than what we're seeing at the minute. He is. He should at least be an option off the bench, an option to put pressure on the likes of Souček and Antonio if they're not performing well, and we want to move Paqueta into the middle of the pitch, which I hope we do on Sunday. Ben Rama should be the guy we bring in. Well, he's not, is he? And I just think that at the minute, for a lot of fans, and not everyone, like I said, there is people that want Moyes to get a new contract and they won't change their mind. There's people that want Moyes gone and won't change their mind. And I accept both camps. I understand why. You don't need to explain it. I get it. But for a lot of fans, they're in the middle, which is, well, let's wait and see. Let's see what he does this season before we judge. So he's on trial at the minute. In games like last night, and now this is why it's a geo opinion video. This is for me only. It's just a massive reminder of why I wasn't keen on him last season. It's a huge reminder. We've gone to Olympiacos, haven't attacked them, to underestimate them probably with the team selection as well, and we got what we deserved, which was a defeat. And it puts pressure on Sunday. It puts pressure on us playing Olympiacos in a couple of weeks. And like I said, it's nothing unfixable. I did the video after the Aston Villa game. The next 5 Premier League games are massive, and I stand by that, and I think that's true. Everton, Brentford, Forest, Palace, Burnley, not in that order. That's our next 5 league games. We need to pick up minimum double figures, 10 points at least. Hopefully some more to keep us on track for this season. When I say on track, like I said, I'm talking about my own hopes, which is to finish 8th in the Premier League, but we need to pick up 10 points. We do that, things are looking good going into the Christmas window. But he's on trial at the minute. And while he's got some things right this season, I think he's undone a lot of that positive stuff, if you like, last night. Because it wasn't just getting it wrong with his team selection. It was the substitutions again. It was the players that he sort of mismanaged coming in and not being able to perform. It wasn't just last night. It was the bigger picture. I got a reminder of it. And I know there'll be a lot of people watching this thinking, well, what do you expect? It's your fault. That's fine. It's my opinion. And I didn't like it. And I just hope that come Sunday we see a positive performance, etc., etc. You know, everyone does. Even those that hate David Moyes will be hoping for a win on Sunday. Am I confident? Not really. Has my confidence gone down since last night? Not necessarily, because I think regardless of what happened last night, we'd see the team on Sunday which he's going to pick anyway. You know, Ben Rama could maybe put in a man-of-match performance and still not started on Sunday afternoon. He's probably already knew his team for Sunday before he picked his team last night. So I don't think it makes too much difference. But after what I've seen about Villa, I was worried about. By the way, that's what I will say. The Villa games made me worried for the Everton game. Not what I've seen in Greece last night. Greece last night has no impact on how my confidence ahead of playing Everton on Sunday. What I've seen at Villa Park does. Because there's probably 12 players to pick from. He's starting 11 last week in Kudus. He might play Kudus. And if he does, who's coming out the team? We'll wait and see. Obviously, there's a forced change at left back. There might be a forced change at right back as well. Hopefully not, because I'm already worried about that one change in Emerson. Anyway, like, I'm going to shut up. A bit ranty, but to summarise, my rant is more last night, and I know people say we've had that all season. That's fine. That's your opinion. But my opinion is last night we got sort of last season David Moyes, and we got it not just a little bit. We got it in abundance, and I didn't like it. And it was just a reminder as to why I'm not wanting David Moyes to get a new contract. And I didn't like that. I didn't like it at all. Anyway, well, I'll be back later tonight with Gonzo. We'll be doing the preview for the Everton game where I promote the Christmas jumper a bit better. I decided, they arrived yesterday. I've got them here, some of them, and I thought I'm going to have to promote it because we need to get... How do you sell them if you don't promote them? Exactly. So regardless of whether we won or not, I was going to have to wear this, and I don't like Christmas. Anyway, but if you like the Christmas jumper, you can grab it below, hammerschatstore.com/Christmas, and you can see what we've got on display there. But if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll catch up with you later.